Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there, feeling fantastic, and certainly having a great start to your day and a great week out there so far. I got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Tuesday. There's a few things we need to speak on, and we'll get very detailed on those things for you folks and how it's going to affect your weather for today. And then for the second half of the video, we'll get you an update on the tropics. We won't get super detailed, but we'll give you all the information that will get you guys going. We'll get you more of a detailed update on the tropics probably tomorrow evening, as there is a couple things I'm watching. Is there any threats for the U.S., for the Caribbean? Nothing I'm seeing right now, but there's a couple things we're going to speak on. So thank y'all for all the thoughts and prayers about being sick. I feel like I'm getting over it, but I said the same thing yesterday morning's video and ended up having to leave work a little bit early because I felt bad again. Now my wife is sick. She's more sick than I am. So now asking for prayers for her. It's just been a rough start to the week. It really has, with just sickness. And we all know that sickness is a routine buster, and I'm a big routine kind of guy. I'm always going, so when I have to stop, it just tears my nerves up. So between that and I've been having issues with YouTube. One of my videos got flagged for invalid traffic, and I didn't find out about it until like 2 weeks later. And it just happened to be that video that I was really proud of that got the highest views ever. Not abnormally high, but apparently YouTube basically yanked 90 to 95% of the revenue away from that video. And I actually had to find out myself. I noticed a difference Saturday evening. I had to dig into it, and I reached out to YouTube, and like a lot of customer service people do. And I work in customer service, so I know it's not like this everywhere, but you get the copy and paste response, and they just didn't help at all. So it is what it is. You can't control it. You just keep on moving. But apparently there's a lot of smaller and bigger YouTubers that have dealt with similar issues, and all you can do is hope that it doesn't happen again. But at the end of the day, you just keep rolling. I'm still blessed to have a platform to talk about what I love. And I was irritated about it for about a day, and I'm over it now. But it's just been a rough start to the week, guys. But we'll keep going. We're going to keep trucking. And just thank y'all for the prayers. It definitely means the world. Just shows the family-type atmosphere we have on this channel. And that's something I'll never take for granted, guys. So let's get rolling. Enough with the soapbox there. We'll make sure this is working. So there's an upper low right here. You can see on water vapor loop the spinach going on right here. All right, this is going to promote a very small window, very small geographical area for some showers and storms to kind of funnel in through this way. And yes, Chicago, you're right in the path of these. There's going to be a little bit of a tornado risk, very low tornado risk for areas of northern Illinois from this upper low. This is not totally unusual. Little cutoff lows that just kind of meander and just kind of pivot and move very slowly because they're cut off from the main stream of things. Typically can bring their own environment, can promote some pretty wild weather sometimes. Luckily, this isn't a very strong one, but there definitely is going to be a little bit of a risk for some tornadoes today in northern Illinois. So definitely be aware if your county or area gets under a tornado warning. You definitely want to be alert on that. And there's a big system that I'm watching, and oddly enough, there's no big time discussion from the Storm Prediction Center from really anywhere that I'm seeing on any kind of sites. Now, for you folks locally, like on the coastal regions of Oregon and Washington State, that could be totally a different story. I don't know what you folks are hearing about locally, but I'm really watching a system that's going to fly in later this evening and affect areas of the coastal regions of Washington State and Oregon. And we'll talk about that when we get to that geographical frame in this video. A lot of tropical moisture you see in the white down here. That's going to basically fly over the entire state of Florida, South Georgia, maybe even to the low country of South Carolina. And then we're watching a backdoor cold front that you can't really see on the water vapor loop at all. That is going to basically drop in from the northeast to the southwest and take over most of the state of North Carolina into the northern half of South Carolina. And this is basically going to promote an environment for clouds and just showers and things like that. Then we'll watch a little bit of some severe weather down here today also. So that's kind of what's going on for today. And the features we will speak on, kind of on the circle, I'm on water vapor loop like we always do. As far as the radar, we still have just energy flying over the northwest from this upper trough. You guys have seen rounds of rain very higher up in these elevations. Snow, the snow levels aren't very low right now, so you got to get pretty high up to see the snow, but definitely a big area of rain here in eastern Washington State, northern Idaho. You got some showers flying through western Oregon and northern California. And then we got some heavy rain falling in basically the entire southern half of Wisconsin, some rain falling in the northeast area of Iowa and northern sections of Illinois. And we'll watch to see if the environment can become prime for some severe weather in this area today. Showers and just light to moderate rain, kind of just meandering across the state of PA. Showers across Long Island, New Jersey, the Delmarva area, southern New England. It's just been a very cloudy and dreary and kind of damp, rainy start to your work week up here in this portion of the country. And then a lot of tropical downpours or some slow movers too. I'm kind of surprised there isn't a higher flooding risk in this region, but there's not, just a marginal risk. But it's raining like cats and dogs here in the central panhandle of Florida this morning. And then we got some very heavy rain just off the western coast of Florida this morning also that eventually will move, and pretty much take over the entire state. Some heavy rain right off the coastline of into the Gulf of Mexico of Louisiana also. That's pretty much what's going on. But you can see a lot of moisture down here from this very weak tropical low that's providing a push northward of rain, showers, and storms. Storm Prediction Center, there is a marginal risk pretty much for Illinois and Indiana, almost the entirety of both states, but there is only a very small section that has that tornado risk. This does pretty much include Chicago down to Peoria and everybody in between up to Rockford. We have to watch for a tornado risk, just a 2% risk today, but there is a risk. Then the wind threat, just a 5% risk in both of these areas. Hail threat, same deal, 5% risk of hail. And there is that marginal risk down here, which includes like El Paso, Fort Stockton, a pretty large portion of basically the entire southern half of New Mexico and extreme western Texas. So let's talk about the southeast first. And if you notice me slipping up words, lack of energy, guys, well, it's just like I said in the beginning of the video, just getting over being sick. And I'm a fighter. I'm going to muscle my way through these videos because the more I get out of routine, the more frustrated I get, I guess I can say. So I try to fight against it, even though a lot of people are probably saying, Mitch, just rest, take a break. It's hard for me to take a break for too long. I'm pretty irritated this sickness is lasting as long as it is. So hopefully it'll just completely be gone by this evening. But anyways, enough of that. We'll start off this morning. And as you can tell, the HRRR model is doing pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of heavy rain right over the central portion of the panhandle of Florida. And as we move throughout the day, we could get some showers and storms all the way down to southeast Georgia. These could eventually make it and overspread the low country of South Carolina. And we'll stop it right here. And we'll just go on and get a little bit closer for you folks here in Florida. And here it comes. I mean, Tampa Bay, you're dealing with some showers and storms. You will probably drop a lot of rain with just the tropical air mass in place. Probably later this afternoon. A lot of heavy rain right off the coast of the Big Bend of Florida. A lot of heavy rain falling in South Georgia. A lot of heavy rain down here on the extreme southwest coast of Florida. Heavy rain falling in the Bahamas. And, a lot of these won't pack much of a punch. Some of them will, but I really think they will produce a lot of rain. And we got to watch later this evening as these storms really cluster up around the Jacksonville area and really have a chance to dump a lot of rain. But I mean, it's pouring down here in the Everglades, down here near Fort Myers. It's raining really hard around this evening. Of course, this isn't the exact conclusion on what's going to happen, but we do know there's going to be a lot of rain around in these areas. But I mean, I'd watch out. Jacksonville could get a few inches of rain. It's still raining very hard. And finally, you might can get this to exit the region. But, I mean, there's more rain right off the coast just waiting to move back in later tonight. And then we're waking up tomorrow morning with more rounds of heavy rain, tropical downpours about to enter pretty much all of the western side, including the panhandle of Florida. So a lot of rain could fall today in South Georgia too. Don't want to leave you guys hanging. But speaking of rain between now and the next 24 hours, if you live basically in the central panhandle coastal regions of Florida, 2 to 3 inches of rain. You might have already gotten close to that this morning. But I mean, look at Jacksonville going for 2 to 3.5 inches of rain. But just about almost the entire state of Florida could get rain today. Okay? And then South Georgia, especially Southeast Georgia, you guys could get an inch and a half of rain today. A lot of rain could fall. A little bit up the road here in the Carolinas, there's kind of a competing steering currents going on. You see this energy flying in from the northeast, and you see this funneling up from the southwest. This is the backdoor cold front that needs to be talked about. It's not a big deal. It's actually going to provide a kind of a fall vibe out there for Virginia and North Carolina especially. But this tropical air mass could rise into southern half of South Carolina, and then we're getting into later tonight, and we could be dealing with some showers activity probably later tonight in South Carolina, really anywhere in the state. But this backdoor cold front really moves in and kind of changes the atmosphere, if you will, and brings some relief, cooler temperatures. But I think even today, if you live in South Carolina, North Carolina, especially North Carolina, just a fall-like day. South Carolina more so in the 80s, but we'll talk about that here in a second. And speaking of that second, here it is. This is the temperature gradient I'm speaking on today in South Carolina, North Carolina. I mean, Virginia's flat out feeling like fall, 60s and low 70s for highs. North Carolina, backdoor cold front moves in, the upper portion of the state, 60s and 70s for highs and socked in clouds. You get into the southern portion of the state, you're in the 80s, and by the time you get into South Carolina, you're well into the 80s. I think temperatures will rise very quickly, and then that backdoor boundary will come in. It's basically cool air trapped east of the Appalachian Mountains, and this will set the stage for a couple days of clouds and drizzle. So, northeast today, not a whole lot to speak on. Still just dealing with the pesky showers. If you live in the Delmarva area, just a showery, kind of drizzly-like day. If drizzly is even a word, but we'll just make it a word. But some showers, definitely likely. Some kind of just drizzle out there for areas of Long Island, New Jersey, Southeast PA, Washington, D.C. It's definitely going to be fall-like vibes in Maryland, Virginia, the Delmarva, New Jersey, Eastern PA, fall-like, read a book kind of vibes out there throughout the day into tonight and even into tomorrow morning. So everybody else, though, pretty quiet up here in the upper portion of the New England region, northeast, pretty chill, not a whole lot going on. South central U.S., not a whole lot to speak on, guys. Could get some downpours down the bayou, maybe down there near Hona, Thibodeau. You guys could see some downpours down here. The only reason I know them towns is because I chased down here during Hurricane Ida. So it's the only reason I know. I got them memorized. But you guys could get a tropical downpour or something like that down there. Could get some strong to severe storms here in the western flank of Texas. Some of these, could produce some hail, some gusty winds. And then the southern half of New Mexico, some severe storms are possible, but not very widespread, but certainly possible out here. The north central U.S., this is the area we need to watch out for. You see this upper low spinning. You got these showers that are kind of moving from the southeast to the northwest. So if you live in like the southern half of Wisconsin, you guys will continue to deal with these showers today. Some downpours could get mixed in. You guys in Minneapolis, southern half of Minnesota could deal with some downpours and just some showers today. And they could definitely get more robust in nature as we get into this afternoon. And some of these could produce maybe some small hail up into like the Rochester region of Minnesota, areas of eastern Iowa. And then this is what I want to watch for. These storms right into here could produce a little bit of a tornado risk. But let's keep this going. My folks here in the UP of Michigan, up near Green Bay, you guys could see some shower activity, but I don't think this is going to be a washout by any means. But let's go on and go down to my folks down here in Illinois and Indiana. And as we are getting into the afternoon, into the evening hours, these are the little cells we want to watch out for. They could produce a weak tornado, maybe a land spout. It's not going to be a big deal, but I don't think they would be long lasting. But if your county or your area gets under a tornado warning, just definitely be weather aware, guys. This could sneak up on you on the day where the severe weather risk really isn't that high in this region. But watch out for these cells in northern Illinois, even Chicago, even getting into northwest Indiana. Watch out for these. And these storms, into central Indiana, like Indianapolis, they could pack a punch too. Just kind of a stormy day here in the northern half of Illinois and the northern half of Indiana. Okay, and then we get into later tonight and just could become more of a widespread rain. This is around 3 a.m. It's raining like cats and dogs here. And I don't know why I'm saying that so much, but I guess that's just a thing for me this morning. Here in central Illinois, the northern half of Indiana, raining pretty good in these regions. And then by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, could be dealing with a pretty rainy start in Indianapolis, up to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and starting to enter the western sections of Ohio. So updraft Felicity Swab doesn't really show much of a threat with this, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have one. It barely even pops up as far as colors. But, just be aware of a tornado risk in this region today. Now, the western U.S., really there's not going to be a widespread area. Well, the Pacific Northwest is widespread, but, pretty much only the Pacific Northwest is going to be an area we talk about out west. And we're just going to get rounds of showers and storms throughout Washington State, northern Idaho, extreme northwest areas of Montana. And then this is the feature I really want to watch. Look at this thing right here. This surface low right here. This looks concerning, and I'm surprised it's not being talked about as much. But this is what I want to watch. Well, I know I don't have quite as many viewers from the Washington State area. And I know it's probably because I don't get as detailed with you guys, and I don't blame you one bit. But this thing right here, now, there's probably not much of a severe risk with this because you're lacking thermodynamics. I mean, this is going to be happening in pretty cool temperatures, relatively speaking, for severe weather. But this could bring some pretty strong winds into the West Coast, into basically the coastal regions of Washington State and Oregon. Here it comes. This is around 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And, if you live, pretty much the entire coastline just about of Oregon, all the way up through the coastline of Washington State, I'd watch out later this evening for this, just complex of showers and storms, really storms that moves into the region, this low pressure. And it could definitely produce some very strong winds. And here it comes. It blasts through, and then it weakens. But, if you look at the winds associated with this, guys, these are some very strong winds. 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with this along the coastal regions. So, definitely be aware of this. And, it could get quite windy into the wee hours of the morning in Seattle, Portland, Eugene. Could get quite gusty tonight from this area of energy that moves onshore into this region. So definitely be aware of that. Temperature-wise, pretty warm across the deep south, the mid-south. Pretty cool across areas of southern New England, the mid-Atlantic region because of all these clouds and drizzle. And definitely a lot of moisture down here in Florida. Kind of coolish up here. Not really cool. Warm, honestly, for this time of the year. But definitely not too warm up here in the areas of the northern plains and the north central U.S. But the high plains into this section of the northern plains is warm. Montana will be above average today. It'll get very warm today, well into the 80s. And definitely warm day for Texas and getting back into the 100s in the desert southwest. But this is probably a big reason why you're not going to get much in the way of severe weather from this except gusty winds. It's because the temperatures are pretty cool in the Pacific Northwest. You definitely need some better thermodynamics for that complex of storms that really feed off of that will eventually move onshore later this evening. These are temperatures out west. Update on the tropics. We got this area of interest that has a 90% chance to develop. It most likely will develop into a depression or tropical storm. Our next name is Rena, but it's Invest 91L. And then we got Philippe. Philippe is, something we need to watch on down the road. This is the latest cone from Philippe. Expected to remain a tropical storm through about the weekend, then weaken to a depression. But you notice the cone kind of jogs, no longer goes out to sea. It kind of meanders just north of the Greater Antilles. And I'm going to watch the leftover of this energy as it might creep closer to the southeast coastline. I'll show you kind of what I mean here in a second. But as of now, this is no big threat at all. But the GFS shows both systems pretty well. We're getting into Thursday morning. This is Philippe. This is soon to be Rena. And here it goes. Philippe weakens. As you can tell, that number begins to drop. The millibars begin to drop. And kind of just, it's just a weak tropical wave at this point. Then we got Rena turning into a full-fledged hurricane. GFS says it's going to go into a major hurricane and then turn out to sea and not bother a soul. But the kind of the leftover energy from Philippe sort of reemerges off the coast of the southeast. So that's kind of something we need to watch. But, you know, the European shows this scenario a little bit better. Takes kind of the leftover energy from Philippe right here, weakens it like the cone from the National Hurricane Center says it is. One thing I will note is it takes a weaker scenario with the Euro with soon to be Rena, and with a weaker storm, it's able to move a little bit further west and get a little bit closer to the Leeward Islands. In fact, a lot closer, but eventually does turn out to sea. And you got two things ongoing about 9 days out. The leftover energy from Philippe, it looks like, kind of starting to get going again, maybe off the coast of the southeast. And then you got Rena beginning to turn out to sea, luckily not bothering anybody. But this is about 10 days out, so this will change. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and hopefully we can get this energy back right here in the coming videos. Thank y'all for understanding. God bless all y'all, and have a great day.